Welcome to Behind the YugiTuber, where we ask your favorite stars your questions. Tonight I have the man of many memes and ruining all of your dreams, telling your favorite decks are shit. Tonight I have Rank10YGO. How you doing, man?
Well, I'm pretty good actually. Thank you for the memes part, so I can immediately dispute it. No, I do not condone the memes. Please stop sending me that one picture that kind of looks like me, the guy between 8 and 35 years old. I've seen it 12 times by now. But yeah, thank you for having me on the show.
So I guess with the starting of the memes, we'll start off with one of your personal questions. What is your Rick James? For those who are unaware, Rick James was a joke or a skit from Dave Chappelle that everyone parroted back to him that made him fucking go mad. He could not stand it. What is that? I'm sorry if this is going to end up getting you sent it more.
No problem. So essentially what you're asking me is, could you elaborate on that because I didn't quite catch it.
What is your what is the joke that you've made or the continuity?
Oh yeah, okay, I get it.
That people just parrot back at you that drives you fucking nuts.
Yeah, something that tends to be repeated a lot for no reason. I guess I do vaguely regret the Rank 4 train video because ever since that fateful day on like April 2016, I've been constantly kind of bombarded with, "Hey Rata, guess what? Rank 4 train. Are you angry yet? Get mad, dude. This is I'm trolling you right now." That's kind of the thing I guess people expected me to get angry about because it's a thing that I disliked or something. Then again, I mean, I can't blame the Yu-Gi-Oh community for taking a joke as comedy gold, given that it was vaguely funny and this scene is kind of lacking in any kind of decent humor. I'm kind of paraphrasing myself badly,
yeah,
but...
I know, I'm here. It's pretty
okay.
boring.
Yeah, this kind of... The Rank 4 train joke got circle jerked to hell and back. Kind of same with Shape Snatch and Abaki. I will give them credit. I do kind of tend to repeat Abaki in my videos, but the joke behind that is that it's out of nowhere, it lasts for like a second, and it's usually like a part of a card countdown or something related to burn damage, so at least it's in context. And Shape Snatch especially is usually used as a part of bizarre skits, and it's never really the same thing with it every time. So a lot of the jokes that I make, usually I see in my comments or DM'd on my Twitter, "Hey Rada, guess what? This thing you said, I just said it again. Booyah. Can I comedy now?" I wouldn't say it gets on my nerves. I just kind of occasionally get annoyed by it, but it's not too big of a deal, really.
For the thing that the people parrot back on you in the DMs is you are someone who has the Discord as your Patreon reward. How hard do you find like moderating it, like where there's people who are kind of rude and annoying or say stuff that like don't really what you see as fit for your Discord, but they're not breaking your rules, so you are kind of forced to keep them?
I know you're asking this because you're in the Discord.
No, I would never ask that. Why would I do that?
No, yeah, he's not in Discord, guys. I'm joking. It's not. There is no bias here. Anyway, yeah, the Discord is a weird little thing because on one hand there are a lot of really cool people in it. On the other hand, there are some very silly people in it that kind of people anonymously agree that. Wait, is it unanimously? I don't know English. Anyway,
unanimously.
Yeah, that's the word. The people kind of unanimously agree are vaguely annoying, and most people would much rather see them not post. But you know, we keep them around either because they're not breaking the rules or because the mods find them funny, especially Jimbles. And Jimbles is a whole different story, but that's completely out of kind of the line here to talk about. So. Maybe we'll have Jimbles on here sometime, but regardless,
I would love to do a three-way interview with me, you, and him.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how comfortable I am with you using specifically the word three-way for that, but yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's the Patreon server can occasionally get on my nerves with those certain people. Just saying things in general, but in kind of the danger of sounding extremely pretentious. While they can be annoying, it's fun to have them around, just sort of as a balance between a normal discussion and everybody in unison yelling at these people to shut up because they're not making any sense.
So you like to avoid the echo chamber, quote unquote.
I absolutely hate echo chambers, and I cannot stand for the love of my life any kind of blind praise or circle jerking a thing or a person. For instance, I really despise being called Train Daddy or Rata Senpai or Our Lord and Savior Rank10YGO, which I have been called numerous times. I understand where these people are coming from, and I understand it's kind of a part of internet culture or any kind of personality cult on the internet relating to a popular piece of media gets these reactions. But I don't like that. I'm just a dude on the internet that happened to kind of get somewhere by talking about shitty children's card games, so I'm just a dude like everyone else. Don't call me if you wanna talk to me on Twitter. Don't start it with "Oh great Rata Senpai." Start it with something like, "Yeah, you fucking idiot, what's up?" You know, that's how I talk to people.
To latch on to the Lord and Savior of YugiTubing that people have called you before, how does it feel to basically be the innovator of using the animated background and forcing the lazy fucks that make the videos in this community to minimally, at least if you're gonna do that, if do anything or not do anything, just put the animated background?
That is a very specific question about specifically animated backgrounds, but I also can to an extent see where you're coming from, because I mean, I wouldn't call myself a pioneer, honestly. The only reason why I started using them as early as I did on the channel is because some dude in my very first video in the comments was like, "Oh, dude, like, sus, don't use the black background, it looks really weird and static and boring." So I just kind of scoured YouTube for any kind of random stars flying across the screen really slowly, and you know, it's a nice aesthetic detail. I wouldn't say it enforces lazy fucks to start putting effort into their videos. An animated background does not make a bad discussion video good all of a sudden, but I do agree that some level of aesthetic presentation can help get your point across. I know KFG, who was often criticized by people to not put too much content into his too much effort into his content. He has recently started using animated backgrounds, and you know, you can clearly see some kind of it's easier on the eyes, for one, to look at a card being kind of displayed in a way that how do I say
more
this?
attention to it.
Kind of like that, while there's an appropriate background. I know he was talking about trick stars in one video. There was like a moving hard background behind it. It was a nice aesthetic detail. It doesn't really add too much to the discussion, but you know, it helps the video stand out as opposed to just being another kind of production line thing to put out every single day. You know, you look at it and you think, oh, he put a bit more than 12 seconds of work into this. That's nice. Even though I think those 12 seconds are pretty much required to just put in the background into whatever video editing software you're using. But regardless, it's, you know, I think just animated backgrounds in general help the presentation of your videos, because if you're not doing any kind of super serious discussion, if you're doing something for entertainment, you should at least try going to some kind of effort to make it look pretty.
So, on the topic of making or putting a lot of effort into your content, what was your favorite thumbnail? Because I know people have asked you recently, and you've said that you people want the mats of the designs you've made. So, which one was your favorite?
Okay, so regarding the thumbnails in my videos, also kind of a specific question, but regarding the thumbnail designs, a lot of the early Legacy of the Worthless videos did not originally use the super detailed thumbnails that I use nowadays. The original Legacy of the Worthless thumbnails were just a picture of the ace monster, or kind of a card representing the archetype, with like a big stop sign over it. I think you can, you can go to the Legacy of the Worthless for worms and still see what those thumbnails look like. Because I didn't bother making a new one for worms because I just kind of decided to forget about that video because it was super dumb. But yeah, originally it was kind of a really dumb way to do thumbnails that required minimal work. Then I found a guy that made them look super sleek, starting with the Viacroy thumbnail, and it kept up with the other videos. So I figured out his kind of idea behind them and started making my own. And now I'm doing my generally all of my archetype archive thumbnails. He did kind of the problem is that some of the thumbnails that I do are based on archetypes that don't exactly have many renders of their monsters available on the internet, so I have to make them myself. So essentially I have to go into Photoshop or Paint.net or whatever to cut the monster out from the background and clean it up so that it can be pasted on a thumbnail and look nice, which can occasionally be a pain in the ass with some super detailed cards. For instance, the new video about Madolche, whoops, spoiler, is
Oh my god.
yeah, exclusive preview.
First heard on here first, other
Yep.
than that community tab thing, which I still don't believe people get notifications for, because I
Yeah,
have not
that's
seen
a
any.
thing apparently. Yeah, okay, so Madolche don't exactly have many renders online, so I had a guy that was making my old thumbnails for Legacy of the Worthless make some himself, so he made my new Madolche thumbnail, so that one's gonna look pretty sleek. But yeah, wait, what was the general question about the thumbnails again?
What was your favorite thumbnail you've made?
Oh, the favorite, yeah. I don't know, I am actually a fan of the Aliens one, the first one I did for Archetype Archive, because I think the positioning of the monsters in that one is really cool, how the bosses are in the background while, because they're supposed to be huge while the smaller aliens are in the foreground. The others kind of follow the theme of main monsters
main
in the
boss
foreground
and
and the big ones go behind the logo. But I also like how I managed to put the Archetype Archive logo under Rainbow Dragon's wings. I think
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, probably Rainbow Dragon one is my favorite. Like, you could see how I can't remember their fucking name, Cobalt Pegasus or some bullshit.
Sapphire Pegasus.
That
I'm
one-
surprised there was just a giant high quality render of Rainbow Dragon somewhere on the internet with its wings fully drawn. I did not expect that to be a thing in general, but yeah, it was.
There's some weird choices for cards that have full art just lying around somewhere
Yeah,
on
I
the dark
don't know,
recesses of DeviantArt.
I don't-
Unizombie, you could see his tiny little legs. It's very weird.
I don't understand where those come from. Is there one thing? One thing that's always bothered me is that Konami obviously has access to at least most of their monster renders, because I firmly believe that every single monster they draw is a full body render, which then they squish into the tiny little card frame that there is, and the rest of the art gets cut off. And I am really bothered by the fact that they don't release these renders to the public, because some of them could really be useful for, dumbasses making thumbnails on YouTube like me. But yeah, it's kind of, you can find stuff like freaking Blackluster Soldier, Super Soldier in full art laying around. You can also find Rainbow Dragon, fucking Air Neos and stuff. Basically the
All
most
the
random
despots
stuff.
for some reason have full art. When I was making my friend a playmat for his birthday, I looked up. I was like, "Why the fuck of all the cards is despots have all full art out of their cards?" Like, it bothers me that some
I don't know.
beautiful cards
I don't know
get
if
full art.
I don't know if people make those because they're passionate about the archetype, or there's some secret Konami database that I'm not aware of. But I will give a shout out to just let me exactly check. Okay, so there's this. Most of my thumbnails, I have to give, to an extent, I have to give credit to the, of all things, photo bucket user, Paltator, which has renders for a whole metric fuckton of cards. He stopped recently, I think, maybe because of some of Photo Bucket's fishy new policies about keeping galleries up being really expensive. But his most recent render is Spiral Tough, so he was doing it up until recently. And there are just a huge number of renders for a massive number of archetypes. Like you have here, just eyeing it around, you got Ignites, Hieratic, Geargias, Dragonity, Resonators, etc., etc. So a lot of my archetypes, in part, are as good as they are because thumbnails are as good as they are because I used this guy's amazing thumbnails. So that's Paltator, or Palteitor. I did it. I'm not English, but I did it. Thank you. One by one.
So on Reddit, I noticed that your name on it has a little title as like the GX aficionado.
Yeah, it's the local GX shitlord, I think.
So what is your favorite GX filler?
Oh, I love that question, actually. I was, you do kind of just need to look at the first season, which was filler incarnate. There was a lot of it in the second one, but it was interrupting the story a bit too often, whereas the first season didn't even have the story until the filler stopped. I liked the filler pieces where it built up the idea behind dual spirits. I liked the Jinzo episode. That one in particular was fun. I like the one with the golden egg witch thief because
I was going to say, I was like, hey, I was going to say, my favorite's always the golden egg witch.
Yeah, that was
so stupid.
A completely ridiculous episode. Just a guy that was bad at drawing. He always bricked, so he went out in the wilds to practice drawing, and then he
ate
could
grass for years.
He was out there
and
a lot.
He got super fucking
and
rich.
He turned into Tarzan, and then he could draw anything he wants. So instead of running Exodia, he uses some fucking anime exclusive drawer dude that loses to fucking Flame Wingman, as it were, as it always does. So yeah, that was fun. I can't exactly remember off the top of my head, but there was a lot of GX filler. That's why it would take me so long.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah, a kid. Oh yeah, I just remembered. As a kid, I was just a huge shipper of Jaden and Alexis. Anything like that had
everybody was.
Yeah,
I don't care what anyone says. Anyone who says they weren't is a fucking liar.
Any episode that had them standing together in like the same frame had me going, oh. So essentially, the episode, other than the episode where they dueled, the episode where he played against the tennis dude to become her fiancé. And then he wins and goes up to her and asks, so what's a fiancé? That was good. That was a good fucking episode. Even though it was the most bullshit anime exclusive cards you could imagine, like a tennis-based archetype. This kind of the epitome of GX.
I was so sad because when I first got back in after my hiatus of playing as a kid, back in like the end of middle school, early of high school, I was rewatching GX, and there's an episode or they're fighting the cafeteria guy because he feels underappreciated, so he has a food deck. And I was like, I want to make that shit. He has like Carrot Soldier and Potato Man.
Yeah. I was it the cafeteria guy? I know it was like the guy from Ra Yellow. I don't recall who he was exactly or what the story behind that was, because I kind of skipped that episode halfway through because it was, okay, this guy's using a food deck. It's another filler. But yeah, he was using Carrot Man and Potato Man and whatever, and some senseless mechanic.
He had the Mystic Walk, which was like a real card. But
yeah, that is a real card.
I was very sad because I wanted to make my hamburger deck. Oh shit, my phone alarm's going off.
Oh god. Thought it was like a nuclear warning.
Yeah, let me just turn that off. So while I turn that off, I'll load you up with the next question is, what was the hardest Legacy of the Worthless or Archetype Archive to make, or which one did you have the least fun doing?
Oh boy, okay, so initially I dreaded talking about Crystal Beast because that was kind of the first video I ever did that focused on an archetype that had a fair amount of combos to it. It wasn't a very good archetype, but it was one that people have played around, played with for God knows how many years. So there were a lot of kind of weird specifics I was afraid I would have to go into. But in the end, it wasn't too bad. You just kind of explained how to spam with them and how they're focused on the extra deck because their monsters are complete garbage. You gotta
get out Rainbow God Dragon or whatever the fuck it's called, which is, oh man, fuck that translation.
If that was the case, I don't think I would be having too much trouble talking about Crystal Beast because they were just kind of, it's not good. I just say it's not good. Anyway,
it's not good.
What I also had some trouble talking about was, let me just think here. Oh yeah, okay, so to an extent, I also regret the Flamewell video because I went that entire review without mentioning Red Resonator, which is a fire monster with 200 defense and is a level 2 tuner, so joke's on me. But it wasn't particularly hard to make. As far as difficulty of editing goes, I would say the skit in the Cyberdark video and some of the editing in that video were particularly kind of annoying, but it was like 9 cards in total, so it wasn't too much of a pain in the ass. I can only imagine how long it would take me to make the Neos video if I was making it now, but if I could remake that video, I would, since I really didn't expect it to get 400,000 views.
That's how I feel about my first Everything Wrong With. I'm like, why have 600,000 people watch this piece of shit?
Yeah, you kind of, that's kind of the regret of the early days. You're glad that you got so much exposure, but you know it's not a very good video. And if I could go back and remake the Neos video, I would. It's not that there was too much misinformation in it or something. It was perfectly fine as information goes, but just the problem of like a lack of editing, the whole microphone buzzing, my voice was kind of monotone. But yeah, it's just kind of, I did not expect it to blow up as hard as it did, so...
So, we'll go back to the show later, but who is your Yu-Gi-Oh! Waifu? I have to ask this for everybody.
Okay, so, specifically female character, because that's a waifu. I mean, on the other hand, you would have a husbando, and I think anyone
who's
who
your
is...
husbando as well?
Okay,
well,
anyone who has been, like, watching my channel or following my Twitter for more than 6 days, know that it's Jaden, or Judai, or whatever you prefer. Then again, Jaden and Judai are fundamentally different characters, so Judai...
Yeah, they're pretty fucking different. You tell me you don't like Jaden, get your game on!
Hey, I like that phrase, honestly. I like that phrase, and I like that at the end of the duels he says, and that's game, because that's like a real thing people say at the end, that's game. Whereas the Japanese version was kind of cockier, in a way that's a bit annoying. Because imagine every time somebody defeated you, they would go, gotcha! You would, at some point, you would blow up and want to punch them in the face. So, other than that, I just prefer, Judai is the man, the legend. As for the female characters, Yu-Gi-Oh! Isn't particularly well known for its amazing cast of well-written female characters.
Just fucking go with a card then. Who's your card waifu then?
Card waifu? Isolde, Belle of the Underworld, and I think that is obscure enough to be kind of exclusive. But you have the short like gray hair. You have the goth aesthetic going on.
All right, I understand. I can see that.
I'm glad.
I understand.
Also, in the TCG, they de-accentuated her breasts, I think, because in the OCG they were kind of, you could see the Y-shaped kind of cleavage cut out or something. I don't recall, but
yeah,
I know
I'm looking at
something.
it right now. She has like a pendant now covering it up, or what looks like a little jewel, and that looks very drawn on.
Yeah, I don't recall what it is, but I know it was censored. Regardless, America doesn't like titties. I'm used to it. I've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh! For 11 years. I'm familiar with what they do. I don't really care about it.
So you've been playing for 11 years. So what is your least favorite deck to play against, or at least play style? Like, I know I cannot fucking stand anything that plays around Banish Zone. So like Ritual Beasts and fucking ABC, they drive me nuts.
Okay, if we're talking about archetypes, then I would have to go with Psyframes, because hand traps are already some of the most annoying concepts as a whole in the game to deal with, and an archetype entirely built around them is nothing short of absolutely infuriating to deal with. But as a deck and not a specific archetype, anything that lives and dies by Black Garden can go suck my, whatever you want to end this sentence with. I hate Black Garden as a concept. It's a horribly gimmicky card that enforces either FTK bullshit or decks that are annoying to deal with. Essentially, I don't like my monsters getting weakened on summon, for one thing, and I don't like the whole token spawning mechanic, because
now that we're in links, it generates a firewall of spam.
Not just that, I mean, my problem with Black Garden is not links, it's that it usually enforces some kind of horribly gimmicky playstyle. I had a friend that used what is it? A Black Garden deck focusing on a card called Synchro Material and Steam Synchron. So what he would do is essentially drop Black Garden, Steam Synchron, and Synchro Material, and essentially everything I summon, he would turn into a free Synchro monster for him. And it was annoying to deal with, and I don't like Black Garden. Every time I see Black Garden drop on the field, I know I'm about to go up against some gimmicky bullshit
really
like Steam Synchron Turbo or Chain Beat.
Steam Synchron Turbo. That's a new one.
That's a real thing.
How much do you think you spent on the game physically?
Not much. Since so I don't know how many people know this. Here's hoping that I kind of relay this to more people now that I'm on this talk show, as it were. Nobody in Montenegro plays Yu-Gi-Oh! Montenegro doesn't have locals or regionals even or anything. Montenegro doesn't have
the ability to buy at the store.
No, yeah, you cannot buy real, actual Yu-Gi-Oh cards in Montenegro. The extent of Yu-Gi-Oh in Montenegro is like the 20 people that watched the show during like 2006 while Dubbed DM was airing, and that's kind of the end of it. We also had some GX and 5Ds, but by that time interest from kids had fallen off, so yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh is not really a big thing here. A lot of things that are big in other countries aren't big in Montenegro, so that's kind of a thing. Physically, let me tell you the extent of what I bought. I bought a Kyber Reloaded structure deck at a convention. I bought the Ancient Gear structure deck this year while I was at a locals in Serbia while I was at a convention. I bought 14 Abakis and 13 Dark Artists because that was funny and I had money to throw away. And
how expensive were those Abakis?
Not much. I think it was like 50 cents a pop.
That was well worth the money spent.
Yeah, most certainly. It made for a very funny part of a skit, so that was good. Other than that, I also bought a Spiral Dragon core, and when I say Spiral in the context of Yu-Gi-Oh, most people will immediately think of the obvious thing, but Spiral Dragon is a completely different thing. Phantasm, yes, Phantasm Spiral.
The token spawners.
Yep. So I don't know why I did that. I think I expected to play with someone, but then didn't. But yeah, that was the thing that happened. And I think outside of stuff that I purchased to do for the channel, that's kind of the extent of it.
I see. So do you play online a lot then? Like use YGO Pro or like Dueling Book or whatever the fuck people use
If
online?
there was no Dueling Network and YGO Pro per se, I would not have this channel right now. I would not be as acquainted with Yu-Gi-Oh as I am, because that's pretty much the only way I can play. I do regret not spending more time on Dueling Network and Dueling Book because honestly, per se makes you a bad player. Because a simulated
auto-chaining?
Auto-chaining, telling you exactly what you can activate and when to activate it. Most things related to timing. But as a person who didn't really expect to go anywhere when it comes to physical play, I did not bother too much with Dueling Book and Dueling Network while it was online, which I kind of regret now because I'm starting to focus on more important archetypes now that my channel is bigger. So again, I'll be talking about freaking Madolche next time, so that is a real actual archetype that has plays.
You're gonna get some angry people.
I am pretty sure I will miss out on a lot of important plays, and I fully understand any kind of rage that I would get from those people, but I'll try covering the good stuff. But yeah, I did spend most of my time just playing online, so...
So what is your go-to deck when you play online? Like, or even if you had to go to a local or a big tournament and you were given all the cards you needed instantly, what would be your go-to?
Probably Lightsworn. If I want to win, I'm going to play Lightsworn, because it's funny how that deck really never fell out of relevance.
It's been around for like 2000 since 2010, and that shit's still
2008.
Just...
I actually feel it was released. It started in Light of Destruction. I don't recall if that was 2008 or 9, but wait, I need to cough really bad.
Go right ahead. I'll edit them out. Don't worry.
All right, so it's funny that Lightsworns have lasted so long because they were released alongside stuff like Six Samurai, or the original Six Samurai, which nobody uses, and Gladiator Beasts, and they were kind of a rival deck to Gladiator Beasts for a long time, but they were based on mechanics which were kind of even in their execution at the time, but as time went on, the gimmick of a Gladiator Beast became more outdated with each new format, whereas with every new card that benefited from getting sent to the graveyard, Lightsworns became more powerful. And now we're in the situation where Lightsworns are basically playable in any possible form you can imagine, and Gladiator Beasts struggle even with their newest pieces of support because their mechanic is just that outdated, and focusing on the battle phase is not exactly something that's viable in this day and age. So yeah, Lightsworns, I have a decent amount of experience with them online, and I think I was given last year at the locals in Serbia I went to. I was given a Lightsworn deck to practice. That was kind of fun. So yeah, I do like Lightsworns a lot. Their mechanic is ridiculous because you can just plus so much off of completely destroying. I sawed this deck in half, essentially, and I just plussed like 10 because everything I sent to the graveyard has a floating effect. So Lightsworns are fun.
So this next question is a ritual for the show. Was asked by someone on Reddit,
Ritual
and I
summon.
deemed this a ritual. Is why do you think his scrub friend thinks Grand Mole is still broken? In 2017, today is December 11th to date this video of when we're recording it.
Who is my scrub friend?
This man, his name is Rob is Cat. He wants to know why.
What was with the scrub friend part? Who is my scrub friend that thinks Grand Mole should stay limited? I did not understand that part. Regardless, I don't know why Grand Mole is still limited. It was like the 2008 equivalent to Gamma Seal because it outed everything with no targeting. If I could tell you, I would say they forgot it's on the list. It doesn't enable any loops or anything. It just kind of it's a card that was accidentally really good. Because it was a Neospatian, and those generally aren't very good. I would imagine.
Are you kidding me, dude? You could maybe rip a card out of your hand with Aqua Dolphin. How is that not good?
It's funny you mentioned that, because I was looking to the automatically held for review comments on the Neos video, because those are always really fun. And I posted it on my Twitter. Some random-ass Brazilian guy with a Dragon Ball Z profile picture, because they really seem to gather up on the Neos video for some reason. Defending Neos with, like, walls of text and run-on sentences with no punctuation. Basically giving out sick five-card combos for a grand total of 4,500 damage. Sick, bro. 2002 cold. You might want to give them their combo back.
So what is the comment that you like that people tell you or say that like drives you up a wall? Like for me, in my season 2 Everything Wrong with video, I used Konami's website to fact check if cards were real or not. Now this website has not been updated in years, which I didn't know, and I was too stupid to be like, maybe I shouldn't trust this. Maybe I should just look at the Wikia. And I saw anti-magic arrows wasn't real on that website. And I was like, I'll run with it. So everyone messaged me. It's not funny, guys. Shut the fuck up.
Okay, so I get it to an extent, but I usually get those kinds of comments on my old top 10 videos. Like, hey, why isn't this card there? Or, you forgot about this card. So it was either something based on opinion or something about a card that wasn't even released at the time of making that video. So nothing in particular. This kind of ties back to the whole what meme that people kind of drive into the ground annoys you. I get a lot of different stuff over and over again. It's at this point it's just kind of become routine, so I could not tell you exactly. But there are still a few Legacy of the Worthy jokes flying around, and those are as hilarious as they always were. So, yeah, I guess you could say, hey, Rata, make Legacy of the Worthy is a decent contender for that.
This is kind of late to ask in. We're like 35 minutes in, but I feel like
I can go
would
for
be
another
really,
35 minutes.
I feel like it's really stupid of me not to start this off with, but what made you start wanting to make Yu-Gi-Oh videos, or just videos in general? Was there like a certain person or like a channel you watch and be like, I can do that, but better?
I always wanted to have a YouTube channel where a decent amount of people would a decent amount of people would listen to me ramble about random shit I felt like talking about for God knows how long. So I thought, hey, I know Yu-Gi-Oh! I gotta talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! So I started with top 10 lists because that's easy pickings, essentially. And one day I thought, you know what, I'm done with top 10s, let's talk about archetypes. And for some reason I thought, let's start with mech lords. I don't know why I thought mech lords were a decent kind of starting point, but that's what I picked. So, I guess I just essentially wanted to relay my thoughts on the game that I am passionate about to people, see what they think about it, and kind of get that, like, no, like, make no mistake, there is definitely an aspect to it that was about validation and seeing how much people, quote unquote, like my opinions, but by this time
everyone's like that.
Yeah,
Don't
of
feel
course.
bad.
But by now I'm past that, and I just kind of make stuff that I feel like, because first of all, people give me money on Patreon for it, and second, I enjoy talking about all archetypes because modern Yu-Gi-Oh is just kind of boring to me. And this is not some kind of a grand reveal. I'm pretty sure most people are aware that I'm not too big into modern Yu-Gi-Oh. I am up to date with the meta. I know what's the text and how modern archetypes how older archetypes fare in the modern game, but mostly it's nothing really I'm not too engaged in it.
What is your favorite draw power, though? Like, because you still keep up, so is it like Pot of Desires, or the Spellbook engine, or the good old-fashioned Pot of Greed?
Okay, if we're talking about specifically cards that let you draw...
Yeah, like engines or anything like that, just give you draw power.
I'm a fan of Allure of Darkness, specifically because it's a 3, and while a lot of archetypes that I play that use it do not really benefit much from the whole banish one thing, it's just kind of crazy how you can have 3 copies of draw 2 in your deck, which most of the time you have access to. Then again, the card is pretty much an even 0. You get 2 cards for banishing 1, and Allure of Darkness is already a -1, so it's a good card. It's very versatile. You can pretty much any dark dedicated deck can run it. It's recommended to do so. Most recently, I've had some luck using it in Tin Dangles, and that deck really kind of is lacking in a level of consistency, so it's a good card. I don't really see it dropping out of relevance anytime soon until Dark gets some kind of a new draw engine, which I don't suppose it will. Other than that, I guess frickin' can I think of anything in specific? Not exactly. I think Xyz Change Tactics is a fun card, because I used to play a lot of Utopia rank up, because that's a surprisingly fun deck, especially with Zexal weapons, even though it can be a bit janky. But it wasn't particularly hit hard by the new mechanics, because most of the time you have one Utopia on the field which you rank up and down at will, and if you have Xyz Change Tactics on the field, you get a bunch of draw power off of it, so I guess Xyz Change Tactics is a decent second mention.
How did you face any difficulties trying to like manage your YouTube channel with your regular social life? Did you ever see it as like getting in the way? It's like, well, I could go out right now, but I have to make this video. I have to reach my deadline. Okay,
first I'm gonna make the obvious joke. There is no trouble if you have no social life. Okay, that joke out of the way.
I know that feel.
Okay, of course. Occasionally I did kind of I do occasionally have trouble balancing college or uni stuff with doing YouTube. But to be fair, I mostly hold off from doing either until the absolute deadlines. So if I'm making a video,
I respect that. I absolutely do that. Why do you think When Everything Wrong With comes out once a month? Because I spend 3 weeks not doing anything.
Pretty much, same here. honestly, I mean, it's not like Archetype Archive takes a short time to make. It's usually like 4 to 5 days of work, depending on the size of the archetype. But it's not exactly a month-long production, as my kind of upload schedule would imply. But I'm kind of lazy. But mostly, I kind of rush 50% of the video in the last day, and that's why they end up coming out at 5 in the morning, because
That's what I do too.
Yeah, pretty much. I mash out everything.
All my uploads, you can look, and my friends comment, they're like, why the fuck do all of your videos get uploaded at 3 a.m.? I was like, that's when I finish working them. They're fresh off the presses and straight to the YouTube upload button.
Yeah, it's funny because the Watt video came out at like 5 p.m. and a bunch of comments were going like, what the hell, Rata? It's like it's a normal.
I'm still awake at this time.
It's a normal Saturday evening. What's wrong with you? So as for social life, it doesn't really bother me too much. I have my schedules. I will never really cancel meeting with friends or going out and getting wasted until 2 a.m. to make a video, honestly. But there was this one time where, yeah, it was the upload of Legacy of the Worthless for Guardians, where I was out in the city while the video was uploading, and I was like, okay, I have enough time to hang out with people until the video finishes uploading, and if my calculations are correct, it should be uploaded immediately as I come home. But that wasn't the case. It was uploaded like 20 minutes earlier, so somebody had already posted the video on Reddit and stole all my karma and notifications for it, which was kind of meh. But other than that, it's not really a big deal to balance that out. The worst part, honestly, is kind of trying to figure out when to do uni stuff and when to do video things. But I've slowed down with uni for now because this semester is really easy. The next one might be a bit busy, so there could be less videos. So instead of 2 a month, there might be 1 a month or half a video a month. A very busy upload schedule, as you can clearly tell for Rank10YGO standards.
You get some of those sweet shit posts out, like the Summon the Speed Lord
you see,
or the ban list one.
Things like that.
That's still my favorite video.
Things like that don't come out of thin air. I just kind of have to be inspired. I look at a video and think, you know what? This would make for a shitty Yu-Gi-Oh video. Let's go.
That still is my favorite one, though. The Summon of the Speed Lord. That was.
I don't know what I was thinking with that. I originally uploaded that unlisted and linked it on Twitter. Then I was like, you know what? Let's go all out. Let's fucking destroy people with this dumbass video.
That was that leads me into another topic of what was one video you put out where like expecting it to kind of flop or like not do as well but did really well?
Well, first of all, I did not expect Speedlord to get like 60,000 views. Other than that, I really expected to not do well. Well, again, I did not expect the Crystal Beast video to be as in-depth as it was. I expected to miss out on a bunch of relevant plays, but I didn't. Then again, that's my fear for a lot of stuff I have to review in the future, specifically Geminites, because I have to talk about Brilliant Fusion, and Brilliant Fusion warrants an entire video for itself, honestly. That will be like a half an hour long, but I don't really have anything in specific. Maybe War of the Worthless, that entire clusterfuck. I'm not really too proud of those videos because there was a bunch of really bad duels that I would most rather not have on the channel in the first place. And I'm still surprised how the first and second part still somehow got over 100,000 views, even though some of the duels, again, were ridiculously dull and uninteresting. But I guess enough of them were fun enough for people to watch. I just don't like the idea of uploading replays to my channel unless they're like Shape Snatch versus Toons. Shape Snatch Turbo wins. What the fuck? That happened. That's a real video.
That's a real video. So on the topic of videos, though, how cool was it, or were you like really nervous when you did the Yu-Gi-Oh history live at Japan Zam in 2017?
Okay, so first of all, it's pronounced Japanism, and second,
I'm so bad with words. Please forgive me.
That was a very stressful 3 days of preparation because, okay,
I'd imagine. I'm a man who hates getting in front of people.
Kind of a history behind that. So, essentially... Okay, let me exactly remember this entire timeline. Meanwhile, I'm gonna crack open this beer because because my throat is sore. Meanwhile, you can sing for the audience or something.
Hell yeah.
Okay, now I'm good. Okay, so.
Understandable. Respectable.
Understandable. Have a nice podcast, I guess. So, Japanism was on the 25th until 28th, I think, of June. Yeah, June of 2017. And essentially they had you could sign up to do your own show. And I thought, hey, I could maybe try out for this. You know, there's gonna be a bunch of weebs trying out stuff, so maybe I could be the destined weeb amongst the 100 that would sign up. And I was like, okay, so I'm qualified for this because I know Yu-Gi-Oh! And because I type diligently like this, you should get me to do this. And I did not expect this to happen, but like 2 weeks later, I get notice saying, you're accepted, please detail out your presentation for us and tell us what you're gonna do. So I was happy about, how that's gonna turn out. But the problem was, it was on the convention started on one of the days of my finals. So I had to miss out the first day, but I managed to get on the second day, and this was a 4-day convention, so I was there the second day, and I was in a 1-star hotel at the 10th floor, which had no Wi-Fi outside of the hallway. So
Interesting, and that's how you know it's high quality.
I mean, that's how I managed to pay like being there in the first place. So a 1-star hotel at the 10th floor with Wi-Fi in the hallway, and I had no script or PowerPoint presentation ready, and I had to make do in like 2.5 days. So essentially what I did was hang around the convention until 8 a.m. until 8 p.m. Then I would go back to the hotel and try desperately to connect to the internet, whether it was in my room or the lobby, and I would collect pictures and videos that I needed. I actually did pre-download videos home, and I don't think I would have managed to do that with the internet speeds in that place. So I managed to kind of make a rough draft of my script, the things I would talk about, and the PowerPoint I would present to like 100 people there. I did not expect anyone to come. I expected like 10 people tops. So on the day of the presentation, I decided I'm gonna have my phone next to me just to remind myself what to talk about. And, I went there with my ex at the time, and we were mostly prepared. And then the whole, room started filling up with a good 100 people. And among them were, Yuya and a Yusei cosplayers. So I was like, oh man, these people are serious. They're gonna kick my ass if I say a name wrong, if I say Jaden instead of Judai. Oh, Jesus. So
they're gonna fucking come up there and they're gonna summon Speedlord and he's gonna fucking
kick me in the face and killing me instantly. But no, it actually went pretty decently. I'm just kind of I don't like that I accidentally missed out on Capsule Monsters as a mini-series, and again, I don't think anyone's at too much of a loss for that. And I was
no one
a bit too much.
Capsule Monsters.
Yeah, I guess, but I was also kind of ing a bit too much. I was often unsure what to say.
It happens. It's like it's a problem that people have. It's nothing to feel bad about.
Yeah, I know. It's just that it could have been a bit better, but mostly I've heard positive reactions from people in the audience, so I was pleased about that. I also met the Yuya cosplayer. That was fun, and it was a grand old time. So I'm happy how it turned out. The subbing the whole thing was a bit of a pain in the ass because there was a bunch of Serbian phrases that could not be that do not translate well at all. But it was mostly a fun experience. I hope I get to do something similar next year for the convention, but I don't think I'm as educated in anything Japan related as Yu-Gi-Oh! So maybe not.
So on the topic of the show, what is your least favorite arc or least favorite season?
In general?
Just in general, what do you hate?
Well, kind of, I guess, my instincts are telling me to say the last third of Arc 5, but that was just so gloriously stupid and nonsensical and disappointing that I retroactively love it because it's so bad. Something that was just so dull was, I guess, 5Ds between the final arc and the first arc. So the whole crash
They kind
down,
of just like had nothing to do.
Yeah.
They're like, what should we do?
crash down, Red Nova, the half of the grand tournament, but nothing in specific comes to my mind. I guess also the beginning of Zexal. I would not
I
specifically.
still have yet to watch Zexal, so I cannot comment on that one.
Zexal 2 is a genuinely good series, so it's worth sitting through the.
I know a lot of
80-ish
people
episodes.
apparently die based on my YouTube
a lot
recommendations.
of people die in Zexal.
I'm excited to see that, though. I'm a little interested. I'm like, that's something that the show has been straying away from. Maybe that's why that.
Okay, yeah, Zexal did get fully dubbed. Yeah, it's funny. Zexal is the first Yu-Gi-Oh series since Duel Monsters to get a complete dub, because GX did not get season 4
GX
dubbed.
didn't get season 4, and they didn't do season 2 of 5D.
No,
right?
they didn't do the ending of 5Ds either. The 5Ds ended with the fight against Aporia. And they did not do Zone at all, apparently. So, yeah, Zexal was fully dubbed. But Yuma's
finish Arc
voice
V.
was absolutely disgusting.
Oh, I know. There was a local store before it closed down that had like one of those dual terminals, and it was a Zexal era one. So it had like a motion detector or something, because whenever I walked by, it would scream like whatever the fuck his stupid catchphrase was.
Oh,
Yuma
Yuma had a lot of catchphrases depending on the localization, because the phrase "kato bing" in Japanese doesn't translate to particularly anything. So you had "high five the sky," "go pop flying," or personally my favorite, or like the stupidest fucking one from the manga, "I'm gonna jet." He just says, "I'm gonna jet." I don't know what that means. It sounds like a really bad euphemism, and I hate it. Oh, I'm gonna jet.
High five the sky. I think that was the one I heard. That
Yeah,
does
that's
ring a bell.
his 4Kids catchphrase.
Yes, that's probably what it is. But I walked by it, and I was like, I would go up to the store. I'm like, can we please just fucking rip that?
Can
out
we
of the
kill
wall?
Yuma, please?
I think that was why I didn't actually watch not Arc V, but Zexal.
Yeah,
I
Zexal.
could not stand.
Zexal had a planned Funimation dub, which sounds like a fantastic idea, and I don't recall why it was cancelled exactly, but they showcased the beginning of the first episode, and they did not translate Kato-Bing. They just let him say Kato-Bing, but in English. That's it. That's what they did. There is there is no escape to that catchphrase. It always sounds bad wherever you put it.
That's what I want. I want from my mainline American translated thing just have some bullshit Japanese phrase that doesn't translate.
Imagine if they kept
little kids.
Imagine if fucking Naruto, instead of believe it, kept saying "Databayo." That's kind of the
Imagine
equivalent.
all the kids in middle school going "Databayo."
I'd rather not.
That's what I would love that. That would be absolutely divine. Fuck, that has me a little tearing up from that cat.
Don't cry.
That's so stupid. That's fucking terrible. But to go back to the YugiTubing scene, how do you view the state of it? Do you think it's pretty shitty? Let's get some controversial opinions going, because I want to rev up the hate and the drama engines a little.
I think it's going uphill, honestly. Just give me a second, I need to get a beer again. Alright, so I think the Yu-Gi-Oh! YouTube scene is vastly improving, specifically because you see the rise of more and more Yu-Gi-Oh! Content creators that put effort into their presentation as well as discussion. Because up until, I guess, a few years ago, you had, were like the main names, CapG, Asian Eyes, Galactic God, Cyber Knight, I guess you could say, and of the ones that were unanimously kind of agreed by people to have been absolutely amazing, you had Yu-Gi-Oh! For Real Man, which doesn't do Yu-Gi-Oh! Content anymore. He's an RPG maker kind of dude, but his content was praised because he put so much effort into the presentation of his replays. They were just replays, but they were really funky decks, and the way he went around presenting them was fun and silly, and it had a certain level of personality without him actually ever saying anything himself. So, did you ever watch Yu-Gi-Oh! For Real Men by any chance?
No, I did not. That was before my time. I've been on a mission lately to go back and like watch all the older channels and then try to find newer channels because I do enjoy like watching the growth of up and comers.
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! For Real Men was just kind of the poster boy for good Yu-Gi-Oh! Content back then. There was a lot less clickbait back then. Then again, there was less clickbait on YouTube in general than it is right now. But Asian Eyes used to do kind of replays and deck profiles. KFG was doing the same thing he's doing nowadays. Mostly these people remained the same, but again, KFG started putting a bit more effort into his stuff. I will always speak against his practice of kind of taking content he didn't make and then putting 8 ads on it, which was the case with the whole kind of voice actor duel that was recently on like a big event. I don't recall what it was.
Probably like one of the world championships.
Yeah, or
bullshit.
copyright striking a video that was just a video of him scrolling through a website, but with the audio removed. That was kind of... Caps, don't be like that. Anyway, aside from that, I don't want people to think I hate the guy or something. I just don't like some stuff that he does on occasion that makes him look silly. So regardless, I think I think that recently you can really see the kind of rise,
the increase in quality.
Yeah, and the increase in quality and editing, and just the general discussion level is up. Simo is pretty popular. Again, I'm not gonna pretend like I watch Simo. I'm not a fan of his yelling, but I know that he's a swell dude. I know that he's cool. I just don't watch his videos, but I know that he puts a lot of effort into his stuff, and that
You don't like the yelling, but yet you've watched one of my videos. Mine is nothing but yelling.
it's not too much yelling. I can stomach your yelling. He just kind of yells everything he says. It's like if his girlfriend wants him to whisper to her, he's gonna be like, "Hey, baby, what's going on?" So that's kind of Simo for you, but he's a good dude. So other than that, you have I don't know. I couldn't be bothered to dig up examples for you, but I know that I've seen rise in people that spend a lot of time editing their stuff, and I know if subscriber growth is anything to go by, those channels are kind of the future of Yu-Gi-Oh! On YouTube, because people want to see this stuff presented in a way that's appealing and that holds your attention and that is funny or generally entertaining to sit through, and has a decent level of rewatchability, if that's a word.
Who do you feel is probably one of the most underrated channels right now?
Hardleg.
Hardleg?
Hardleg, yeah. Hardleg has, I think, the most entertaining personality for a so to say.
I love his intros, dude. I don't know how he does it.
His intros are amazing, but other than that, I think just the fact that he can hold your attention for so long with just... First of all, his voice is amazing, and it works perfectly with the kind of commentary he adds to the duels. But his decks are also ridiculously fun to watch go through. I recall him going 10-0 with the Mind Games deck that he built a while ago. That was fun as hell to watch. He has a consistently entertaining personality. I do not watch him too often because it's a lot of an hour-long videos, but I'll often like have him in the background or something, and he's just generally a fun dude. I think I'm gonna record a new video with him sometime soon, so stay tuned for that.
Heard here first.
Yep.
Let's think. Let's read through some more. I hate to do some umming right now, but I'm running a little low on the questions. Let's scroll through. Oh yeah. So you busted out a beer earlier. So what I want to talk about this. What is your favorite drink? What is your go-to? Like if you had any money and someone could hand you a drink right now, what would it be?
Okay, so contrary to the popular belief and the kind of image I built up on my channel, I'm not actually a raging alcoholic. I am.
Oh, I don't think anyone. Of course, I would say I don't want to say. I was gonna say I don't think anyone believes that, but there's definitely some idiot who believes that.
I mean, I wouldn't call them idiots. It's just kind of an internet thing to go, that guy's such a funny, depressed alcoholic. Depression is not funny, guys, don't do that. Anyway, I will often like bust out a beer when I want to bring myself to sleep and forget about the world, but that's too dark to discuss on an internet show. The thing that I do like a lot is this energy drink called Booster, and I literally have a table in the corner of my room completely littered with empty booster cans. There's like 30 of
If
them.
I get a picture of that, so I can like overlay over.
Yeah,
the video,
I will send you. I will send you the picture of 40 boosters on my desk.
I do have like 60 water bottles strewn across the floor of my room because I literally, if I don't have to leave my house to go to work, I will not leave my house.
Now, you
That's kind of
see,
a problem I do.
the thing about the boosters is that I was initially collecting them to make like a pyramid in the corner of my room, but then I forgot that I let out the rabbit, and then he charged into the pyramid and he destroyed an ancient world wonder. So I just kind of, I wasn't bothering. I couldn't be bothered to rebuild it, so I just placed them on the desk, and now I have a horde of boosters ready to launch themselves into any kind of unsuspecting little country. Yes, in space or that. Yeah, I like Booster a lot. Booster's good. It's essentially tasty fizzy water, and it's an energy drink. That's I owe it to.
Here. I'm not sure.
I owe it to Booster that I passed one of my exams this year, because I essentially stayed up like all night with a single booster to study that shit, and I managed to pass. So buy Booster, it makes you smarter.
Let's get you that sponsor, my dude.
Exactly. I would die.
Booster
I would die to get sponsored.
Your
by
liver
Booster.
would shut down. You probably have like a caffeine overdose. I'm pretty sure you get a overdose on caffeine. Probably. I'm sorry that some of these questions are all over the place.
No problem.
But let's read. Fuck, I just lost it. I lost it in my list. This is really unprofessional of me, but oh god, where did it go? Oh no. Okay, well, let's go with this one. What is your opinion on the clickbaiting that has taken up the website recently?
You too. You can't really escape it to this point. The average, so to call it, cancer tuber, and I do not use that word lightly. I'm sorry if anyone watching cancer has this. Please, I have my sincerest condolences. But anyway, freaking the types of rice gum. That's what I'm referring to. That's what draws in the views these days. I cannot really blame any kind of channel focusing on mass appeal like that, resorting to clickbait, because that's how you get the views in the first place. Unless you're already a highly built up channel, you don't really get views if you don't clickbait, or if you're not a specific niche like I managed to pull off. You get views if you do top 10s or reaction videos, or putting red circles on your thumbnails, or any kind of similar clickbait stuff you can possibly think of. I don't like it, but there's no escaping it, so you just kind of have to live with it.
So I found the question I was going to ask you earlier, is that do you ever regret choosing YouTube as your focus of your channel? Is there ever something you were like, man, I wish I did that and got established doing, or want to move away from Yu-Gi-Oh! And try to do now even?
You started that question with, do you regret choosing YouTube as a...
I'm going to say Yu-Gi-Oh! As your YouTube.
No, I do not. I do not regret starting with Yu-Gi-Oh! I am most certainly aware that if I'd attempted starting with anything else, I would not have I wouldn't have gotten the exposure I got from Yu-Gi-Oh! And I would have most certainly been lost in the kind of torrent of similar based content on YouTube, because it would most certainly be a gaming channel. And now if I wanted to start a gaming channel, I already have enough exposure, so I could get onto a decent kickstart. So most certainly I do not regret starting with Yu-Gi-Oh! It was a blast, it was fun to talk about. I will not lie, I am more tired of it than I was before. I'm still not like completely burnt out on Yu-Gi-Oh! But I do see myself kind of maybe switching to something else in the future, but the Yu-Gi-Oh! thing won't stop anytime soon.
I see. Do you have any like rituals or ways of going about things to prevent burnout in channels? Like how I do it is when after I do like a everything wrong with episode, I don't like watch the show. I don't touch anything show related for like 2 weeks, just so I don't make myself sick of watching it.
I actually, if I feel like, I will usually take a good week or so of a break, possibly even more, most often even more. But if I when I get myself into a mood to make a new archetype archive, I watch one of the previous ones, and it kind of gets me motivated to work on a new one, because I'm like, hey, this is kind of entertaining to watch, and I recall having fun with making it, so let's do another one. So that's kind of that's fun. It's good. It's I don't really have any kind of specific way of getting myself to work on a new one, but someday I will just sit down and start either making the video, or I will watch one of my previous videos and go, you know what, let's do another one of these. So nothing really too specific.
Nothing too specific. All right. So do you let's read some more. Let's go back to Reddit or consult Reddit for questions. What was your favorite format of
Yu-Gi-Oh.
like decks of Yu-Gi-Oh? What was your favorite like seeing decks be popular? What was your favorite one?
The like 2 weeks before hold up, what was it? Well, let me exactly think how much time that was and what happened in between. After Wavering Eyes ban, the post-Jin ban kind of Necros format. I don't recall when Wavering Eyes came in during that time, but after I think Wavering Eyes was later, so post-Jin ban, pre-Wavering Eyes format, where you had Necros, Klee, Shadows, Yangzing, Burning Abyss, Satellarknights. You had like 15 decks.
You enjoyed the Octo format?
Pretty much.
Like
that was fun. You could play
everything?
a bunch of shit, and you could have fun at Tier 3. No, the Tier 3 existed in the first place.
Tier 3 did exist. People do forget that Tier 3 is a thing.
Yep, most certainly. And nowadays you just kind of have to struggle to find Tier 2.
Yeah, it's like if you're not playing the either the best 2 decks or the best 1 deck, you're probably going to lose unless you have like a very good counter strategy, like that one guy who won. I want to say it was the London YCS when he played a bunch of Book of was it Eclipse or Taiyu, whatever the one puts all the monsters face down.
Eclipse. Eclipse.
And he played Purgatrio and flipped all the zoo monsters face down, and then went into it because everyone was using Ash Blossom. So he just took people's Ash Blossoms and double penetrated them for game.
Yeah, I can't say that I'm too familiar with recent like YCS kind of history, but yeah, it's fun. There was a good format. I know it's not exactly an unpopular opinion or anything, but formats where pretty much anything recent is viable, that's the good stuff.
What was one deck that you like looked at from like OCG announcements and went, that's gonna be broken, and then flopped so hard?
I can't say that. Okay, so I expected, like many people, I expected the Magispectors by themselves to have a lot more relevance. But it was mostly just Kirin and Tanuki being used as an engine in other Pendulum decks. But they didn't exactly flop. I expected the Morphages to be a lot better than they were, but they were horribly inconsistent with the whole tributing mechanic.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of reversed for me. I thought a bunch of decks would be really bad, and they ended up being amazing. Specifically, I didn't think Metal Foes would be as good as they were. That's because I did not
think it was going to be like another Ignites, where they were like, we'll hype it up?
That Ignites, and I did not account for the versatility of the whole vanilla fusion thing. I was like, what is this, 2003? Come on, Nintendo, what's going on? Yes, I know I just said Nintendo. Anyway, Metal Foes, I did not account for the whole self-destruction thing and how versatile it can be.
Floating is no joke, man.
Floating is absolutely no joke. I don't know why I didn't think about it. Yeah, Metal Foes were good.
So what is your like extremist ban list view? What was one thing that you want to come back, like minus Stratos, minus like Construct and Chaos Emperor? What is like the one weird thing that you want to come back to, either like 1 or 3? Like, I'm a huge advocate of just, like, giving us a deck of one-ofs. I want to just see, like, chaos format, almost. Where it's like, just give us Delinquent Duo at 1, Monster Reborn at 1, Last Turn at 1. Just, like, have it fucking balls to the walls and just see what happens. Just to spice things up every once in a while when things get boring.
Okay, so I'm curious as to what it would be like if Yada came back. Because, obviously, the game is a tad different from what it used to be like in, like, 2004.
You're wondering if the Yada lock can be still pulled off in 2017?
You can,
almost 2018?
You can, I mean, we had a lot worse turn 1 boards you can make in recent history of the game than a single Yada pecking you for 200 until you die. And there's a lot more ways to come back from it, and not nearly as many ways to empty your opponent's hand as there
now
was
that
with,
all the jars are pretty much banned, all the good
and
jars.
And Chaos Emperor Dragon, while we're at that. Then again, Chaos Emperor Dragon is back in the OCG. I forgot what the errata was exactly. I think you just can't play cards until the end of the turn or something. Anyway,
yeah, it's something like similar to Sangan, where it's like when Sangan searches something that turn, you cannot activate that card.
Yeah, I don't recall, but I love spirits, and I would love to see what it would be like if Yada came back, but other than that, there is nothing in specific, I feel. Wind-up carriers in Mighty would be nice, as long as they put Hunter back on the list. Then again, that whole loop would not be nearly as potent as it used to be. A lot of these cards that are on the list are just kind of there because of loops that are outclassed by a lot of things you can just do with one card nowadays. But, yeah, there's nothing really in particular I'm too salty about on the list.
So you announced that you, for the 4K or 40K special, that you're going to be streaming yourself playing Duelist of the Rose on Twitch, I believe it is, or because you don't use YouTube live streams. So what is your favorite Yu-Gi-Oh! Console game, if you've played any of the other ones?
Absolutely Tag Force 3. I haven't played too many Yu-Gi-Oh! Games, but I think I've played enough to kind of deduce the variation between them and kind of assess the quality of each individual one. And Tag Force 3 is just so brimming with content, and so much passion went into that game, and just absolute kind of attention to the franchise. The fact that there's an animated 3D background for every single field spell.
That was super cool.
Yeah, that is amazing. Which is kind of weird, because in Tag Force, every single subsequent Tag Force game would be like a lighter on content, but would have more cards. So Tag Force 4 got rid of the animated backgrounds. It had like widescreen backgrounds for field spells, which was nice, but they weren't fully 3D and animated like in Tag Force 1 to 3. And Tag Force Special completely got rid of field spell backgrounds in general. That game was a disaster when it came to presentation. That game had the card pool and absolutely nothing else. But back to Tag Force 3. The level of attention it was put on following the GX story was admirable. There were so many side activities and minigames in Tag Force 3, it's ridiculous. I recall streaming that game and finding like a volleyball minigame, snake...
Wait, what? That's a thing in that game?
That's a real thing. You play volleyball with...
what the fuck?
You play team volleyball. You pick like it's on a 2D plane. You pick a character you want to back you up behind you, and you... I guess I don't recall the kind of specifics, but you throw the ball and you're trying to kind of knock off blocks off of the other team and make them fall through the ground. It was fun and silly, and you had all kinds of different types of balls you could throw. One of them was a pie. You could hit them in the face with a pie. So that was fun. There was also a kind of snake type minigame where you would run around and collect students. Like you've played Snake. Everyone has played Snake. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
There was also a minigame which got surprisingly fast and frantic and really hard near the end. You had like a roguelike type of dungeon crawler where you would start off with a really low amount of life points, and you would find chests that increase your life points or give you cards, which was really cool. There was also card exchange machine on the island where you would put in 10 cards and it would give you something else. And it was usually some really bad garbage. I recall on the stream putting in like 10 decent cards and then it shits out like a level 4 vanilla insect with 1200 attack. It's called something like Big Insect, and the entire chat goes batshit. It was great. I urge everyone who's like remotely interested in Yu-Gi-Oh! Or just GX even better to play Tag Force 3 because that game is super faithful to the series and the franchise in general. Tag Force 1 had, a solid foundation, but the progression was way too slow and there wasn't too much content in it. I did not play enough of Tag Force 2, but I know Tag Force 3 is an amazing game, so go play that one.
So we're coming up on about an hour and 20 minutes,
Yikes.
and I do sadly have to go to work in about 15.
All right.
So we're gonna have to call it. We're gonna have to bring this to a close today. Thank you for coming on, man. If you have, let me plug. Or not me, but I want you to plug all of your channels and everything. Let me hear your YouTube, your Twitter, your Twitch, your Grindr, your Facebook.
Ranked10YGO. Okay, no. The YouTube is Rank10YGO. The fucking Twitter is also Rank10YGO. My Twitch, I recently rebranded my Twitch to just Twitch TV /Rata. So if you want to find me, you type in Rata. Apparently Twitch just lets you name yourself Rata, which is cool. I just kind of decided to shy away from the whole train motif because it was getting annoying. So it's just Rank10YGO. Go. My Twitch is a lot of anime bullshit on it. Don't worry about it. There's a lot of sad posting. That's me. The sad boys.
Panda.
Okay. Anyway,
Sad
that was
boys.
me.
Also, since you didn't shout out, I'm going to shout out. He does have a Patreon. You can support his show.
You can give me money. Amazing.
You can give him money to make videos. And if you at least pledge $1, you can join the Discord where you can talk to him.
It's really
and
bad.
By proxy, it's pretty good. It's pretty good when certain people don't talk.
Yeah.
But you know who you are. I know you're not watching.
I know you're watching
Maybe
this,
you are.
Torun. You know who you are.
Shut the fuck up, Torun.
I mean, it's not a secret. I literally said it in chat. Shut the fuck up, Torun. Anyway, yeah, that's it.
Anyone else you want to call out before we close this off?
Myself, please. Somebody tell me to shut up.
Nah, man, you were great. Thanks for coming on.
No problem. You too.
So,
Thank you for coming on.
thank you. So now I'm going to plug my stuff. You can follow me at twitter.com/civet_. You can subscribe to my channel for other behind the YugiTuber episodes I'm planning to do if I could get people to actually respond to my messages and don't think that I'm a scammer. That if you like my shows, like Everything Wrong With and this, you can pledge $1 to me on Patreon to help support the show. Videos will come out nonetheless still, but it just helps me get better equipment and more props to do live action bullshit. Like a lot of the stuff I'm doing for GX right now, which people won't sadly see for like another 3 months, probably. But until next time, guys, peace. And leave your questions for further people, so I don't have to keep going, give me a sec, let me scroll through and consult the Reddit. But nonetheless, bye guys.